In this edition of Your Alaska Aviation Link, we're going to talk to 95-year-old Mike Hunt, a World War II pilot on the ленд-лиз program and the only surviving World War II pilot who's flown the B-17 Memphis Belle. Mike Hunt flew U.S. aircraft from Great Falls, Montana to Ladd Field in Fairbanks, where Russian pilots flew from Alaska over the Bering Sea to Russia.
Most of our flights went to Ladd Field, and then after that, Russian pilots would come there and pick up the ленд-лиз airplanes. And we didn't have much contact with them either because most of those were combat pilots, and they already knew how to fly, and they just get in this airplane and take off, and we flew almost every day. Yeah, we land someplace, we're supposed to get on an airliner and get back to base again, so we'd be ready for another delivery. Yeah, well, here's Great Falls. This is where I was based, Great Falls, Montana. And we'd take off from there with our ленд-лиз airplanes.
During World War II, the U.S. provided military aircraft to Russia to thwart the Nazis on their European front.
We couldn't speak their language, and we didn't hardly get to stay long enough to meet anybody. I would see them in the ленд-лиz hangar at Fairbanks, and we would greet people, but we couldn't talk, and they kind of stayed with themselves because they couldn't speak English. But the Russians liked the P-39 because it had a big 37mm cannon shooting through the nose. The engine was in back of you, and the prop shaft carried the 37mm shell out the front of the airplane, and it was good for busting up things on the ground, knocking out tanks and stuff like that.
Hunt became interested in flying while on his family's Iowa farm.
I love flying, and I had a hard time getting started. You used to have to obey your parents, and my father had two sons, and boy, he was a farmer. And you're out there plowing corn, and horses are farting in your face, two-row elevator, an airplane to fly over. I said, boy, that's where I want to be. I want to get off this farm.
Mr. Hunt has logged nearly 19,000 flight hours, which includes 10 days flying the infamous Memphis Belle B-17 bomber.
18,700 I have accumulated, and that's all in my logbook or other logbooks. He wants to know when I flew the Memphis Belle. Wow. The guy from Tennessee wanted to know too. Should have a marker in here. December the 22nd, 1943. Right there it is. I had flown for 10 days. Well, there was a guy in Tennessee that saw that, and he said, that's an imposter. He couldn't have flown it. So he called me on the phone, and I said, yeah, well, just a minute, I'll get my logbook, and I'll give you the dates that I flew it. And I didn't have to talk very long before he said, yeah, you're for real.
So we've heard from Mike Hunt about some of his life, not all of it, 95 years of flying here in Alaska and going on the ленд-лиз program, flying the Memphis Belle. If you want to hear more, go to the Connect Lecture Series at Chugach Eagle River High School tomorrow night, 7 p.m. I'm Rob Stapleton for Your Alaska Aviation Link.